very, very briefly. But while you're turning there, I'm going to talk a little bit to keep things going. I'd like to look at this thought tonight of the certainty of choice. The certainty of choice. Throughout this chapter, we see Jesus sends groups out 2 by 2. He condemns those who are unrepentant. Groups return, those 2 by 2 groups return rejoicing. And Jesus reminds them why they need to rejoice. Their names are written in heaven. I mean, honestly, what greater thing can happen for us than our name be written in heaven? Here we find Jesus directs worship to the Father, and he tells a parable of the Good Samaritan, which is a very awesome parable. And when it's explained well and when it's talked about well, it's very worth understanding. But then at the end, verse 38 to 42, we hear of Mary and Martha. Throughout the chapter, we find our view on choices offered or given to us and that affect an outcome. Okay, so in verses 1 through 12, we find that there's a view, or the view is an opportunity given by Jesus to go and tell others of him with a choice to do what Jesus said to do. Okay, so he sends out the 2 by 2. Here's your choice. Here's how it happens, how it affects you, and how it affects others. Verses 13 to 16, the view is that Jesus was being too harsh on unbelievers, but the choice was for them to accept or reject Jesus. It's the same thing today, is it not? That's right. People outside the doors of this church, people outside in the community, they may be saved, but they may not be saved. They still need a choice. Are you going to follow God, or are you going to reject him? Are you going to accept the truth, or are you going to reject the truth? We come to verse 17 and verse 20, or through verse 20, and the view here is man seeing a power that they had but needed reminding of real power. And the choice was to understand that power they saw was nothing in comparison. So the power that they saw in what they did, because God or Jesus gave them the opportunity to have that power, was nothing when they came back and Jesus said, that's not it. That's not all. There's so much more. You've been given a glimpse. Okay? Verses 21 to 24, there's the view was placing specific worship on God, and the choice was to do this on a regular basis. Hey, I'm glad to see all of you here tonight. It's a lovely opportunity to be able to worship for God, or worship God, and do so with other fellow believers. And here's this opportunity. Verses 25 to 37, the view was ministry without seeking anything in return, even of those who hate us. The choice is to repeat this action however and whenever the chance arises. Have you ever done something for somebody who just hates your guts? It's hard to do that, isn't it? It's not one of the easy things in life to go, you know what, I know you hate me. You might hate me because I'm a Christian. You might hate me because I'm a redheaded person. You might hate me because of this, that, or the other, but I'm still going to do this because I'm supposed to. And I'm going to try to help you out. But the thing is not to do it just once and be like, whew, okay, I've done my godly duty for the week or the year or however long you want to put on. But I need to do it again tomorrow. That's hard. It's hard to do it one time. It's hard to go back the second. But I'll tell you this, it'll get easier. And that person will look at you and go, I don't understand why you keep doing this. Scriptural promise or scriptural truth that we have to understand is that we are to do these things, in essence, heaping coals of fire upon their head, so that they have to ask, why do you keep doing this? Why do you love me? In essence, this is what they're going to say. Why do you love me when I've hated you? Simple truth. Simple truth here, folks, is because Jesus loved me. Amen. When I was unlovely. when I didn't deserve it. And the little bit of love that He gave to me, I can give to you. Oh, it's going to seem like a lot to them. But for us, it should just be a bit. That little share of what God has already done in our hearts and our lives. Verses 38 to 42, the view is knowing the right time and place to work and to worship. The choice is to set down the towel when it's time to worship. Okay. Jesus is very deliberate in His actions, His motivations, His teachings. He used things around Him to make a point. Every time that you see Him telling a story to somebody, or giving a parable of some sort and kind, or explaining Himself, He's always using something around Him. Always. When He goes up to the rooftop with His disciples after instituting the Lord's table, He's talking of the vine and the branches. Well, there on the rooftops of Israel, they would have a pergola and usually would have grapes growing on them. So He would be talking of the vine and the branches and the fruit. He's using it, and He didn't try to make you go, what is He talking about? I can't picture that. He's showing you right there in His hands. Okay, Jesus didn't do things to make you go, I can't get it. He did it so you would get it.
That's good. Right.
Okay, so I feel here in the end of Luke chapter 10, verse 38 down through verse 42, we have this thought process clearly laid out for us. Let's read verse 38 to 42. It says, Now it came to pass as they went that He entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received Him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard His word. But Martha was cumbered about, much serving, and came to Him and said, Lord, dost Thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her.
Amen.
There's a certainty of choice.
Right.
We all have a choice. Okay? We all had a choice tonight before we decided to come to church. Do I go or do I not go?
Right.
Do I dress up? Do I not dress up? And just choices, right? Do I take this car? Do I take that car? Choices. Do I take this path or do I take that path? Right? Choices all along the way. Every single day we have choices to make. From the moment we wake up, do I get up or do I stay in bed? Lately, I've wanted to stay in bed personally. I'm just being honest with you. Okay? Choices. And I think there are four that we have, or four certainties that we have in this passage. The first is there is a certain village. It says so there in the passage, verse 38. Now it came to pass as they went that He entered into a certain village. Very easy, spelled out for us. It's very nice. This certain village, there is a point. Okay, Jesus knew where He was going. Okay? Again, Jesus didn't just fly by the seat of His pants. He didn't just go, well, I feel like going over here today. He always had a purpose and a reason. He knew where He was going. There was a certain village. He had a place to go. Okay? There was the plan. Jesus knew what was going to happen. He knew He was going to get there. He knew Mary was going to sit at His feet. He knew Martha was going to be in the kitchen, busy, busy, busy. Why? Because He knew Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Good friends. Don't believe me? Go over to John chapter 11. You'll see there that that's the whole story of Lazarus dying. Jesus wept. Okay, that whole passage. He loved this family. The people that you love, you hang around, right? Those people that you hang around, you get to know, right? So when we hang around these people and we love these people, we get to know their little nuances, their little things, the way they act, how they are in a certain situation. He knew Martha would be busy in the kitchen. He knew Mary would be sitting at His feet. He knew it. Okay? In this certain village, there's the point, the plan, and here's the people. Jesus knew who was going to be doing what they were doing. He knew it. That's the village. The second certainty we have here is that there was a certain woman. Verse 38, same thing, spells it straight out. And a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. Certain woman. There's Martha. She's the hostess, the homemaker, the honeybee, if you would. Always working, always busy, always in the mindset of busyness and going on. There's also Mary. And we find Mary come into the picture here in verse 39. She had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. Mary wasn't the honeybee. In fact, Mary is the worshiper. She's the wanderer. She's the one who was the welcomer. She came in and she said, Jesus, you're so important to me. I'm going to sit there at your feet. I want to hear everything you have to say. Folks, where has that happened for us recently? Well, when we walk into church, are we sitting at Jesus' feet saying, I'm feasting on every word that you have for me? When was the last time that we thanked God for the opportunity to do that? Amen. And we have this situation here in this passage. It's a certain woman. We can either be busy about doing all of these things. There's a time for that. But there's also the time we set that aside and we sit down and we hear the preaching. We hear the truth expounded to us. We take it in, as boring as it may be, as dry as it may be, as whatever else that makes you want to just pull your hair out and maybe make you fall asleep. Folks, when we come to church, our goal is to learn more. Okay? It could be one morsel. And if you're sitting there and you're grumpy grumps with your arms crossed and you're sitting there, bless me today, preacher, and you walk out of here going, he didn't tell me anything I didn't already know, you missed your morsel. I had a gentleman in Scotland come and tell me one time, and he said, you know, Keith, I like your preaching. Like your first point's great, your second point's great, but man, that third point, I just don't get anything out of it. I'm like, okay. That's okay. Because that third point wasn't for you. But you got something out of the first two, so mull on that. Think on those things. That third point was for somebody else. Amen. Okay, so if we sit there and we're going, oh man, these first 2 points were nothing. All you're doing is complaining about that in your head for the next 10, 15 minutes while the third point's given, you've missed your morsel. There's a certain woman, there's a certain village, there's also a certain problem. Verse 40. Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that what my sister saith, or what my sister hath left me to serve alone? Better therefore that she help. Certain problem is that she's cumbered about. I played American football. Well, I didn't have to say American here, do I? Sorry. It just came out. Wow, okay. I'll get over that one in a second. So I played football. I love football. But we had to put on pads. We had to have a helmet on. My coaches in college at one point said, man, this will be fun. We're doing lineman drills and all that kind of stuff because I wasn't gifted enough to be a quarterback. So he said, there's a bit of a hill here. Let's go to the bottom of the hill. We all go to the bottom of the hill. And he says, right, get a partner. All right, I got my partner. And he goes, right, one of you jump on the other one's back and run up the hill. You know how much a lineman weighs? Man alive. Tell you what, that's being cumbered about. My goal is to get to the top of the hill. It's much easier without a 250 to 350 pound guy on your back. Okay, that's being cumbered about. You're lumbering up, and hopefully not letting your legs collapse underneath you. Martha was busy. She was cumbered about. She was washing dishes, cleaning up the messes that were made. She was waiting on tables and dealing with the persnickety people who were around because they knew Martha would work. Martha, I need something more to drink. Hey, Martha, do you have a piece of bread? Hey, Martha, I'm getting so much out of what Jesus is talking about. Can you help me with... The whole time she's cumbered about. And she's sitting there and she's getting a little bitter inside. And she's going, but if my sister would help me, it would make things so much better. There's a certain problem. But there is a certain answer. Verse 41. Jesus answered. He said, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful. And Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her. There's two choices here that we find in this answer. The first choice is to fixate on me and my earthly problems. This is what we all do all too often. I'm not going to say all the time because I don't know you and you don't know me that well. Okay? Sometimes we actually make the right choice and go, no, God's got it. But more often than not, we just go, oh, woe is me. I don't have enough money for, I don't have enough food for, I don't have enough blah, blah, blah for. We complain about the things we don't have. We forget about the thing we do. The troubles, listen, there are troubles that will multiply. Your family, your health, your job, your car, your finances, your home, etc., etc., etc. These things always are there and will always have a problem. Always. Doesn't mean it's going to be always a problem, but it's always going to be a problem. Somewhere along the line, something's going to crop up in one of those things, and it'll be there. Here Christ said to Mary, or to Martha, you are careful and troubled about many things. Careful here is talking of being anxious. The when, the how, or can this get done on time? That thought that always comes into our head, no one else seems to care. They can't see what I'm going through. Why? We internalize. And so we go, oh, nobody gets it. Even though everybody else is probably going through the same thing. Philippians 4:6-7 says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ. The term troubled there talks about being disturbed. That weight that is unbearable, that trial that is too hard. Why is this happening to me? We've all asked that question at some point in time. Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So a way for us to get out of that doldrum of, oh, woe is me, and being so troubled, think on the things that have virtue and knowledge and trust. God has given us a great list.
That's right.
There's also a choice to focus on Jesus. Okay? The one thing that's needful. As Christ says. But one thing is needful. He's trying to put Martha in her place without, totally destroying her. Saying there's time and a place for all of the work. There's time and a place to be busy. But there's one needful thing. I'm going to try to put it in very simple terms. I'm actually going to go off my notes here, okay? And I'm going to be done with this. When you come into church, shut the world out.
That's good. Amen.
Shut your troubles out.
That's good.
Shut them off. Because you're here for the one needful thing.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's Jesus.
Amen.
Pastor.